Hello again everyone, welcome to another edition of JP Ball Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new MOTIV Jackal Legacy. Ever since the introduction of the Forged Flare not too long ago, people have been wondering when they're going to take that new Coercion MXC cover and wrap it around the Jackal core, and obviously here it is. So it's the Jackal Ghost core, the Predator V2. The numbers I'm sure you're all familiar with by now if you've seen Jackal Ghosts. I'm going to be using two Jackal Legacies in this video. One's pin up and one's pin down. The pin up is 45 by 5 1/8 by 35, and I know pin up and pin down don't really mean much in and of themselves. It's the VAL angle and the pin buffer that dictate the reaction on the back end, but I'm just going to refer to pin up and pin down in this video just as a shortcut. The pin down one is 40 by 4 5/16 by 70. So today we're going to be testing on 4 different lane conditions after the house shot. So let's take a look at the house shot first, and as no surprise, this ball hooks. It hooks a lot, but it's a little cleaner than the Forged Flare. Even though they have the same cover, the Legacy is a little bit sheener. It's going to get down the lane a little further, which for an asymmetrical ball is great because then it can use the energy that core stores up and just explode on the back end. So even though the covers are the same and the same surface prep, you can expect a much more violent reaction out of the Legacy than the Forged Flare. So we're going to be testing on 4 different patterns today. These are the 4 patterns that are going to be used in the 2021 PBA Players Championship, which is actually next weekend. So first is 2021 Viper. It's 36 feet. Not the pattern I'd probably be using this ball on just because it's short, but it's a very high volume short pattern. So when they break down and open up a little bit, even though it's 36 feet, I think the Jackal Legacy could be in play. Especially this pin down one, because it's a little smoother off the break point, so it won't be as sharp and it'll control the back end a lot more. I really did like the reaction of the pin down Jackal Legacy on this very short pattern, because again, high volume, and that means that the ball's going to go a lot longer down the lane than you'd think it would. So here's an Alpha Jackal, and you can see that it's just smoother off the break point. And the Forged Flare is more of a symmetrical ball reaction than that. It's not going to be as violent and straighten up as much. So now we go to Chameleon. Chameleon's 39 feet, it's a little longer, and it's not as much volume. And so obviously I had to stand a little bit right. The ball got down the lane well and reacted really good. I could definitely see myself using the Legacy on the fresh, even on the Chameleon pattern. As for the pin down ball, I had to get in a little bit, close the angles up a little more, so I wasn't as far right as I was with the pin up Legacy, and this let me loop the ball just a little more from the left, but I didn't want to get it too much to the right because then it might not give me the back end snap that I needed. So here you can see the Alpha Jackal, again a much smoother ball. And the Forged Flare, the same smooth reaction, but not as hockey stick emotion in the back end. So now here's the Bear pattern. The Bear is 41 feet. So now we have to close the angles up a lot. So I'm actually playing around the 3rd arrow here, a little right of the 3rd arrow, I think. This is giving me a reaction where I can play very direct to the pocket. I don't have to worry about covering many boards, and when you get on a pattern that's I know Bear used to be flat. It's not flat now, but it's not a walled up house shot either, so it lets you get away with closing down your angles, play more direct, and keep the ball in front of you, and that's what you want to do on these tougher patterns. So you can see the Alpha Jackal here. The Alpha Jackal is going to, again, be smoother. Sometimes it's not going to get back as well as the Legacy because the Legacy is going to have a little more energy on the back end because the MXC Coercion is just going to be a little more reactive off of the back. And again, the Forged Flare gives you the read, but it's not going to get back as much as the asymmetric. So here we get the shark pattern, 48 feet, a long pattern, not going to be covering very many boards on this pattern, no matter what ball you're throwing. So you want to get something in your hands that's going to be able to read the last 10 feet of the lane, because that's all you're going to be able to do. And the Legacy was really good for this. Even the pin down one was able to read, but because the back end on the pin down Legacy is smoother, I probably want to go with the pin up one on this pattern, because I want as much back end reaction as I can get, just in case I miss to the right or leak a little bit. The lane isn't going to give me much reaction. So here you can see the Alpha Jackal, and the Alpha Jackal, again, it's the same pretty much. The back end isn't as sharp. It's going to read a little earlier, and the same thing goes to the Forge Flare. So thank you everyone for joining me for this versatility test of the new MOTIV Jackal Legacy. Thanks as always to Motive Bowling and Carlos Tabone at the Kegel Connection Pro Shop. Special thank you to Chris Arbor and his staff at Green Acres Bowl in Lake Worth, Florida, where they put out all 4 of the PBA Players Championship patterns for us to practice on. We're going to be going and bowling that next weekend. So wish us luck. Maybe we'll make a TV show, and we'll see you guys there. Until next time.